Hi, hello, welcome everyone to the Krishi schools. And this is 6th class science. So I have given you homework table number 4 and 5. I hope you have done. And after completing the table number 5, you have to observe when you step on a sharp object, what is happening. That you are not simply writing, you have to observe and you have to go through it. So next activity number 7, we are going to continue. Here, Attipatti plant. What is Attipatti plant? Touch me not plant is called as Attipatti plant. You said that touch me not plant. It is very interesting to observe a touch me not plant, Attipatti, or it is also called as mimosa plant, or it is also called as mimosa plant. Touch it, record your observation. When you touch the mimosa plant, what happens? Just it will close. It leaves will be closed. How does this plant respond when you touch it? How much time does it take to return to its previous position? You can see in the picture, touch me not plant is there in the figure number 5. So after some time again it will bloom. So because of the sun rays, okay. This observation explains that plants also respond to stimulus. So this observation, example of this mimosa plant or attipatti plant, we come to know that plants also respond to stimulus. They respond to sunlight. So some plants here, they bloom in the morning and some at the night. Some plants will bloom in the morning and some at the night time. They respond to sunlight. Yes, when sun is there, sunlight is there, they will bloom. Then night time they will be closing their, shed their leaves. When winter comes, many trees shed their leaves. Winter season lo chaala ఆకులు రాలిపోతూ ఉంటాయి కదా. They respond to the temperature. That means they are responding to the temperature. Cold weather, hot weather. Depends upon that they will be opening and closing. Now respond to light by earthworms. Okay. Did you know earthworm? I hope all of you have seen the earthworms. Yes. Get an earthworm from nearby moist soil. Take a glass jar. Cover off of the glass jar with a black paper as shown in the figure number 6. They are asking you to get a moist soil. Tadiga on soil and glass jar. Cover half of the glass jar with black paper. So suppose this is a glass jar. Okay, up to here you have to cover it with the black paper. From here to here you have to cover it with the black paper as shown in the figure number 6. Put some soil in the jar, and now we have to put some soil in the jar and put the earthworm into the jar. Earthworm ni jar lo pettali. Close the jar with a lid that contains small hole. With lid ante cap. Okay, so now it should have some holes to allow air into. Why holes are needed to this jar lid? So that the air will pass into it. Okay. When earthworm crawls out of the covered portion, shed some light on the jar, what happens? Now what does earthworm do? It will be moving now in the jar from here to here, and here it is closed now. So when it comes here, you have to on a torch light. You have to shed the light on the this part. What happens? When we shed light on the earthworm, it moves to the dark position. When you are shedding the light here, it will move again to the dark position. బయటకు వచ్చిన light దానికి focus చేసామనుకోండి again it will go back. It seems that earthworm show response to stimulate in case of light. So this means that earthworm will show stimulus to the light. Seeds living or not living. Seeds are living things or non-living things. Seeds does not move from one place to other place. Then how can you say that seeds are living thing? Whether if they are not living things, how can you say why they are not non-living things? Let us see. Seeds are produced from plants. We know that plant is a living being. From where does the seeds come from? From the plant. Plant is a living thing. Plant is giving out the seed. Can we say that seeds are also living? Let us discuss what characteristic of living beings that seeds have. Yes, whether or not we'll discuss. We have already learned living things show some characteristic. Now, any one of the characteristic this seed is showing. Is seed ఏదైనా characteristic ఉందా? Unte adi living thing. Does a seed take in food? From where? Will it die? It's stored for a long time. What happens when a seed is sown in soil? Yes. Seed germinate and turn into a whole plant. Yes, seed. What does the seed do? First, the seed, already the food is stored in the seed. From there, the baby plant will come outside. Is it not? The root part will go inside, shoot part will come out of the soil. It will die when it is stored for a long time. No, some seeds what we'll do, we'll store it for long time. Then afterwards when you sow in the soil, again the baby plant will come outside. Seed germinates and turns into a whole plant. Seeds will germinate. Fertilization takes place, germination takes place and the baby plant will come outside. So we can say that seed is a living thing. Why? Because reproduction process is happening on seed is growing. The baby plant is coming out from the seed. That means seed is giving birth to the baby plant. So you can say that it's a living thing. Can you think of any way of deciding whether dry seeds are living or not? Now we learn about the dry seeds. Venkatesh noticed that growth, breathing, excretion, taking food, giving birth to young ones, response to stimulus, movement are some of the characteristics of livings. These all are the characteristics of the living beings. Mana living beings hai kada? Yes, we take food, we excrete waste, we give birth to young ones, we breathe, we move, we show some response to stimulus. He also observed that these are not common among all living organisms. అన్ని లివింగ్ ఆర్గానిజమ్స్ లో ఇవన్నీ ఉండాలని లేదు, కొన్ని మాత్రమే ఉంటాయి కదా. But non-living things do not possess these characters. Non-living things like bottle, does it have these characteristics? Does it move? Does it give birth to anyone? Does it respond to stimulus? Does it excrete? Does it breathe? No. He observed that people depend upon both living and non-living things. Yes, what we depend on both living things and non-living things. Now we depend on living things like animals for food. We depend on living things like plants for food. And how do we depend on non-living things for what purpose? Non-living things like now mobile is a non-living thing. We are depending for our studies. Is it not? Vehicles are non-living things, but still we need the vehicles for transportation. So like this, in our daily use, we need lot of living things and non-living things. Generally, we are told that the plant is dead when it has dry leaves and stem and leaves. When they are dried, you can say that it is dead. If an animal does not show living characteristics, if an animal, it is not showing some living being characteristics, we can say that animal is dead. Animal okavela, it is not showing the movement, it is not showing the growth, it is not showing the breath, it is not giving out waste from the body, it is not responding to the light, then you can say it is dead. Is a dead plant or a dead animal? Non-living. Dead plant, dead animal is a non-living, you can say. Then dead plant, let us see. Dead plants, animals or any other living beings decompose to form non-living constants. So we can't say dead things are non-living things. They are called as intermediate things between living and non-living. So చనిపోయిన plants ని animals ని మనం intermediate things అని చెప్పాలి. Intermediate things between living and non-living things. Why? Because after death also they are getting decomposed. They are getting decomposed. That means they are mixing up in the soil to make soil fertile. Now living things under a microscope. The letters in a book are quite small. What do old people to read? Books. So letters చాలా చిన్నగా ఉంటే old people use the specs కదా old people. Yes. Children frequently play with magnifying lens. When we see objects through magnifying lens, they seem to be bigger than their actual size. Yes, most of the all people will play with the magnifying lens, no? Yes. What is the use of magnifying lens? Small letters, when you see through the magnifying lens, they'll appear in big size. Prepare your own magnifier. Collect and use electric bulb. Remove its filament. Fill it. Fill water in half of the bulb. The bulb తీసుకొని filament తీసేసి అందులో half water వేయాలి. See a book through this bulb. Do the letters in the book seem bigger? And all things, yes. Then it acts like a magnifying lens. Okay. All the things around us visible to us. చుట్టూరుగా మనకి ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయి అన్ని కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటాయి. Can we see mouth of antenna? Mouth and antenna of ants. చీమల యొక్క కళ్ళు కాలు చేతులు ఇవన్నీ కనిపిస్తాయా? Can we see um, this with our naked eye? మన కళ్ళతో మనం చూడగలుగుతామా? When you touch flowers, a yellow color powder sticks your finger. If you want to know what it is, what can you do? Yes. When you touch the flowers, you can see some yellow color powdery substance. We cannot see all things around us with our naked eye. There are so many things that we are not able to see with our eyes around us, which are there in our surroundings. మన చుట్టూరుగా ఉన్న వాటిని కొన్ని మనము మన కళ్ళతోని చూడలేకపోతున్నాం. Because those things like antenna of ants, yellow powder of flowers are very small. Why? Because they are very small in size. In the living world, there are some things that are not visible. మనం ఉండే ఈ యొక్క లివింగ్ సరౌండింగ్స్ లో మనం కొన్ని చూడలేకపోతున్నాం because they are very small. We can see those small organisms under a microscope. Then how can you see them? With the help of a microscope. Living beings that we can see only under the microscope are called microorganisms. So the living things that we are able to see through microscope are called as micro. So the small microorganisms, very minute microorganisms that we are seeing through the microscope are called as microorganisms. Underline it and learn. Underline this sentence and learn it. Let us try to understand about a microscope and then use observing the microorganisms. Now what is a microscope? Yes, in the next page you can see the figure number 8 picture of microscope. Coarse focus, fine focus, base, arm, eyepiece, objective lens, stage, slide and light. So this is the picture of the microscope. What is a microscope then? Microscope is an instrument with the help of which we are able to see minute things. Microscope is an instrument with the help of that we are able to see very minute things that we cannot see with our naked eyes. మన కళ్ళతో చూడలేనివి చాలా చిన్నవైనవి మనం చూడగలుగుతున్నామంటే మైక్రోస్కోప్. It works like a hand or magnifying lens, but it is much more powerful. It is very powerful. Basically, there are two components in a microscope. There are two components in a microscope: structural component and visual component. Structural component and visual component. Okay. Structural components are the head, body, base and arm. You can see in the picture now. So these are called as the structural components. అంటే స్ట్రక్చర్ ఫామ్ అయింది వీటితో. దెన్ విజువల్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ అంటే ఏంటి, మనం ఏదైతే చూడగలుగుతున్నామో లైక్ ఐ పీస్, objective, nose piece, codes, fine adjustment knob, stage, aperture, etc. So this is divided into two components: structural component and visual component. Structural components in the sense head, body, base and arm. వీటిని structural components అంటాము. Visual components అంటే objective, eyes piece, codes and fine adjustment knobs. Figure number 8 shows the labeled diagram of a compound microscope. Taking its help, identify different parts of the microscope in your school. Note, we want to see some microorganisms. Where can we find them? So to see the microorganism, we can use the microscope. Today's homework is to draw this microscope, children. You have to learn it. Take a rough notebook, practice it for 2-3 times. Microscope ni 2-3 times practice chesi. Then in the classroom notebook or homework notebook, draw with a neat labeled diagram. చక్కగా నీట్గా డ్రా చేయండి, అదే మీ హోంవర్క్. ఓకే, ఈజ్ ఇట్ క్లియర్ ఎవ్రీవన్? I hope you have understood what all so far we have discussed about the microscope, how to prepare the own magnifier lens and living things under the microscope. Seeds are living things or non-living things, and response to light by the earthworms. Earthworms ఎలా రైట్కి రెస్పాండ్ అవుతున్నాయి. Dried leaves and stems, again what is the use of this, and about the attipatti plant. Okay children, remaining lesson will be continued in the next class. Red mold, bacteria, that's all. Very only one day class is there to finish this lesson. So what is your homework? Draw the microscope diagram neatly and label the parts. Is it clear children? Go through the textbook. Thank you everyone.